And you guys are looking around. You haven't really noticed anything yet, but it seems that things are kind of quiet.
Man, kind of. That's some ominous shit right there. Like, don't say too quiet.
It is quiet. Kieran doesn't notice any. What was that?
He seemed to identify with him. Why don't you go talk to him?
I guess I go up to Gruff and I'm like, try to ask about the situation here.
He like glances over at you and looks around and goes, I'm not quite sure, but you know how we're supposed to be reserves?
Yeah, back of the line. Cannon fodder.
We should have met them by now.
I go back to Veruca and I'm just like, shit's gone sideways. We're belly up here. Our contact, we didn't meet. They're nowhere to be seen. So it's like, get your loot. I'm sure that's you smack things with it, right? That's what you do.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, get ready to get your hand on your loot.
Smack my loot.
Yeah,
and you got your cane ready.
Hold it. I'm like, ready for action.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna fight this one front line.
Gruff calls out and he goes, he barks out an order, and the barking dogs, instead of being in this marching column, start to disperse into a wider, more defensible formation. And Kieran, kind of noticing this thing happening, he's just on the very edge. He starts to go on this side of the formation, starts to spread out. As you guys are still approaching this watchtower.
This is looking more military. This is these guys are trained.
Well, they're not bronze.
All right, we're gonna cautiously kind of get into ranks.
You guys, just seeing a friendly face, and also with the desire of getting him back to his farmhouse, you guys also take the side with Kieran.
Okay.
As you guys disperse out, and as you guys are approaching, the watchtower's again getting closer and closer, and the watchtower starts to look like at further away, it looked like just a formation there. But as you get closer, you start to notice the watchtower looks like a hand extending out, of just made of old architecture, and you start to notice, and you can't really, it doesn't look like a super defined feature, but it looks like the pillars at the top look like fingers, kind of in the structure. And then you hear Kieran caught a little bit on the side, and he goes, guys, is this normal? And you guys walk on over and you look down, and at Kieran's feet, kind of nestled a little bit into the brush, is a man, well equipped, extremely nice armor, with a gold chain around his neck, with an arrow protruding from that same neck.
I bend over and pull out the arrow and take the armor and the gold chain.
It'll take a minute to just rummage.
As you touch the gold chain, a zap goes through your fingers, and it then gently goes back to where it was wrapped around this guy's neck.
By Vecna's hand, shit has gone sideways.
Why don't you use your special hand and try and get that chain?
I mage hand and try to hold. What happens if my mage hand touches it?
Your mage hand touches it. You get the sense. Make an Arcana check.
12.
You sense a kind of seems to be a pretty strong binding energy coursing through the necklace, which is strange. You can feel it through the mage hand. It did not have any on the silver, and definitely not the copper. But these gold necklaces, they seem to have this energy kind of coursing through them.
Can we get it?
Corpse loot afterwards, Veruca. Keep your head in the game. There'll be plenty of pockets to pick and corpses to rob later. Yeah. I think whatever put this arrow
I'm
here is still
looking
out.
at it that way,
Yeah.
but okay.
And Kieran is kneeling down by this body. He looks very shaken. His skin has gone white. He's clearly never seen like a dead body of a person before. Like maybe a family died, but never like to this degree, especially not in such a brutal way. But you see, he is actually thumbing the arrow. He seems pretty interested in it.
Okay. I slap him on the back, and I'm just like, "That's war, kid. That's what all the songs didn't tell you about." And I take the arrow from him, and I'm looking at it.
Kieran lets you. He just seems to be kind of in shock. As you're looking at the arrow, Kieran says, he's like, that arrow, it's nothing like I've ever seen before.
Kid, you
My
haven't
dad-
seen freaking potato apples and shit. Right?
My pa, he had a hunting bow in this area. That's the only kind. The arrows they make in this side of things, it's different. As you look at the arrow, and it seems to be like this made from this kind of wood that you just haven't really seen in this area before. The tip is like this obsidian chipped jagged rock looking thing, and the arrows fletching out from the end of it seem to be just like ragtag put on from a type of bird that you can't quite place.
This goose is well and truly cooked. We're in a pickle. We're in a pickle here.
Yeah.
I've been taking the arrow. Just like I go to the leader of the barking dogs, and I'm just like hold up the arrow and just be like, "We got some native interference. There's some sort of keep your eyes on the hills, boys."
Gruff looks extremely intrigued by this. And he looks at it, and he looks at the arrow, and he goes,
Found your gold chains.
this is no civilized arrow. And he kind of holds it up a little bit. And he goes, this was made in the wildlands.
Mm. Well, we found your gold chains. Your reserve, your contacts.
Yeah,
he's dead.
So, Gruff looks very intrigued by this. He takes a minute to process you saying that, almost like he's recalculating a little bit. He's standing there and he goes, we go inside the ruins. We search for survivors.
Gosh.
This was what you were brought here to do, soldier.
I thought we were reserve forces and all that.
That's what I signed up for.
Yeah. This is what the reserves do.
All right. And I point towards Kieran. I'm like, but that kid stays behind. He'll just get in the way.
Gruff looks back and goes, we need every man we can get.
Oh, I shake my head. I head back. I was like, they're cutting these sprouts before they're even blossoming. And I walk over to Kieran and Veruca.
Yeah. As you do that, one of the barking dogs, who's also in this formation encroaching, he kind of walks over to you guys. He goes, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking for survivors first. We're going to see what did this second. And third, we're going to get the hell out of here. You hear me?
I look to Veruca's like, we might reprioritize. I'm talking to Veruca. Just be like, we're going to get the hell out of here. And then we're going to look for who did this. And I don't think it's too quiet for there to be survivors here. So be cautious and be ready to bug out.
As this is happening, the very front members of the barking dogs in this like fanning positions, they start to make an approach to this tower. And so far, everything is still quiet, almost too quiet. You don't really hear any kind of animals, where before you definitely had this sense of like returning to nature. That is now fled. There is no animals in the nearby vicinity. Your owl, Shane, is it on your shoulder?
I'll say, yeah, it's probably like...
Yeah. Your owl looks to be just that kind of like innate sense to know when something's going a little wrong. It seems to be, you can feel a little bit of anxious energy from your owl.
I'm actually going to send my owl up and out, and my eyes roll in the back of my head, blank out, and now I am seeing from the perspective of the owl as it flies. I think the range is 60 feet. above me.
Kieran looks like very surprised by all this. At this point, nobody does know that you're a wizard. The barking dog members did not see this. Kieran looks pretty surprised by this, but that all fades as your eyes roll up into your head. And then a new vision adopts from the sight of an owl, a very alien, but to you, a familiar sight as you gaze above the land. As you gaze down, you can see from this head, it definitely is a hand. You can see even the palm, and there's like these etchings in the palm, lines here of this alien structure rising up. And then the owl's eyes tilt up, and what you see is almost like this barrier looking thing stretching across in this kind of like wide line. And beyond that starts to look totally untamed lands. It looks just like the barren wastes a little bit. These really weird, like twisting trees growing sparsely throughout. Far in the distance is like these crag-looking things, and it really does seem that across from this ancient tower's hand is just very unfamiliar lands. This, to you, seems to be what they would refer to as the wilds. The uncharted territory of this place. And around the tower's hands, you can see one or two more corpses. You don't quite see what they are wearing, what they look like, but you do see one or two more corpses around the base and backside of the tower. And that's about it.
All right, Mal comes back, and so there was like a barrier, like a wall separating the wilds and from the other.
Make another Arcana check.
Okay. Nope, I don't know shit.
Full. You do get like this vague feeling of like a supernatural energy, not supernatural, arcanic energy. That's you just get this really big feeling of this vast energy stretching out beyond that hand.
Okay.
And it keeps on going, just kind of like kind of like a power line, just like how it just goes and goes and goes. That's how you just sense this massive arcana energy.
I'm like, I think we're swimming in deep waters here, Veruca.
Do you see anything living?
Some previous living, but nothing that I could see.
Then it should be safe to go in.
That's I laugh at the like the unlucky words. Like those are some good last words, Veruca. All right. I guess
Gruff is getting people equipped and ready to move on and everything, and then Gruff looks on over at you guys and Kieran and two other members of the Barking Dogs, and he goes, "Newcomers first. Go in there, scout it out. We'll be right behind you."
I'm like, well, ain't that a crock of shit?
I look at you and say, should be safe.
All right.
And the Barking Dogs at this point are like, you guys are part of the Barking Dog, like proper. They start to have this pretty intimidating presence. You get the sense that these are orders.
They're what?
Orders.
Yeah, we're part of the Barking Dogs. We're the asses.
Yeah. All right, it's like, all right, we're going in, but just know you're all assholes for this. And I go inside.
You guys, at the very base of this watchtower hand, right about here in the tower's thing, it just seems to be this arched, this etched archway. There's runes, this very like faint, ancient runes dotting the archway of it. To you, Darren, you have had a history with runes, but these don't look familiar. They look far older than any that you've been acquainted with. And as you pass through, all outside sound ceases. It just completely goes silent. You walk into this tower, and it just smells ancient. Like, just there is this feeling of not much a bit has been here for a very long time. And Veruca, give me an perception check.
Cody, give Veruca a perception check.
Isn't it fun, Cody?
Fun, isn't it?
Isn't it fun?
15
Plus a bunch.
and then underneath that smell of just untouchedness, there is a faint smell of putrid stain.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But still, and you guys can't hear anything from the outside. The two barking dog members that walked in with you, like one of them is saying to the other one, he's like, "We got the short end of the stick, huh? We're the newest members of the barking dog, but I earned my leather armor." The other one's like, "Shut up," and they're like ready to go. They're just gonna go. They point to you guys. They're like, "All right, newcomers first. Come on, come on."
Oh, what is this?
They're taking up the backside of you guys, but you guys are going as a group.
Did we see what the putrid smell was?
You just it's a faint smell underneath the just aroma of this place.
It just smells dead.
Yeah, and it's faint.
It's been dead a long time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so is there more people than just us three? Like, how many newcomers are going in?
There's 5, right?
There is 5, yeah. So there's 2 barking dog members, Kieran, and you 2.
3.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm looking around. What do I see when I'm inside?
So as you pass in through that archway, all of your outside senses kind of almost uniform cease. Like, even smells from the outside you can't really sense. The archway extends for a little bit, and you start to realize that from far away and even kind of approaching, this didn't look to be a pretty big structure, just from seeing it from one side. But once you're inside, it feels massive. Like, you have this really big sense that what you're standing in is incredibly large. The archway extends for quite a while until you see faintly towards the end, it starts to open up a bit. There is no left or right. So it's just one way.
All right.
Right ahead.
I take my walking stick, and it shimmers in my hand, and it is a curved sword, and I am holding it out as I'm cautiously approaching.
Cautiously approaching. Barking dogs are doing the same. Kieran looks scared out of his mind. He looks like he does not belong here at all.
I flick his head
to
with
his
mage hand.
Yeah, he goes, thank you. To his credit, he does march with. So you guys are all heading in a line down this hallway, and you approach this large room. As you walk in, there's like this faint amount of dust to kind of settle, but you also see a large parts of the room where dust has been disturbed. And in the far corners of this pretty big opened up room is corpses, lots of corpses. It seems, and as you kind of like approach to, you see more members of this previous excursion with gold around their necks, but then also corpses of very alien looking things. They are not human. And Shane, give me a history check.
Darren will give you a history check.
Sorry, Darren, give me a history check.
That's a damn good. I know this shit.
That's good. Yeah. You know them to be. You've heard, like, from your just like traveling and just faint whispers and rumors from these wild, untamed lands. Those are orcs and goblins. You know them to be that. But this would probably be the first time that you are seeing these creatures of this kind.
Not me.
We got some green skins.
Yeah, Veruca is Shane. Veruca is like wit. she's
a plane hopper. She travels.
She's a plane hopper.
Yeah.
Yes. Ooh. Still, it's just it just seems almost too still, too quiet. Everything that is there on the ground, there's no stirring or disturbance there. What you do see is that there is a spiraling part of the arm, like kind of like a doorway on the side that. Oh, yeah. So there's a doorway on the side that appears to look like it's going up towards the arm, further above this opening up part of the room. And then there's also the kind of a hatch on the side that looks like it's going down.
Oh, shoot. Hatch or spiral? I point at the two barking dogs. I'm like, all right, you keep your eyes to the rear. Take point. And then you're the mid guard. You keep your head on a swivel. And I'm like, Veruca, you stay behind me. We're going in. And I think we'll go. And then I point to Kieran. It's like, and Kieran, you just stay out of the way. I don't want you in the middle of any of this.
Kieran gives you the sloppy salute. He's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Shane, make a persuasion check for giving the barking dog members orders.
Man, I'm bad at this. Oh, 13.
To your credit, they give you a crisp salute. Just like, all right, it seems like you, because they kind of recognize that they saw recognition in you when you saw the corpses of these unfamiliar beast-looking things. So they look pretty ill at ease. So they're going to allow you to take point. They're going to allow you to. They're like, all right, we'll do this thing. Both of them head towards the hatch.
I'm just like, oh shit! I didn't mean them to go into the hatch. But let's we'll have them go down the hatch first while I cover the top, and we'll see what's down there.
Split up. Perfect. The two barking dog members, they take their hands around this kind of like the wood of the hatch seems to be again of this like unfamiliar kind of wood. And it looks, it has to be to have held for this long. And the chain is just like a rusted out piece, but it does have this massive, thick looking ring attached to the wood that is still held together. And the barking dog members, both of them had to work together to take one hand and lift it on over. As they do so, the far end of this hatch clangs against the stone, and it lets out this resounding "doo." And then you can kind of hear it echo a little bit "doo, doo, doo, doo," throughout the tower.
Couldn't be quiet for too long, I suppose.
The barking dog members look a little sheepish, but they held true. They are now descending.
Are you sheep or are you dogs? And then, all right, so we're going into this hatch with the barking dogs in front.
You're going with them? You're not going up?
No, I think we're sticking together.
Sticking together. Perfect. So you look down, and it just looks like whatever used to be there in forms of like a ladder or anything like that has just been withered away. It's no longer there. But you do see a bottom. So it seems like this thing. One of the barking dog members has rope on him, though. And he starts to tie the rope, and he starts to like ascend it down a little bit.
And I'm like, all right, so our only escape to salvation is a single rope as we descend down into the mysterious unknown. It's like, just like old times, and I slide down.
Yeah, and Kieran actually is looking aside, and he's like, it seems like we're not the first ones who have done this. And he points to the disturbance of dust, and you'll notice is that where the barking dogs are tying the rope, there used to also be, you can see someone else had the same idea.
Oh shit, kid, you're useful for something.
It's like, it gives you that really sloppy salute again.
I mean, I pin, I don't know, to pull out of my packet, I got some metal something, I pin it to his shirt. It's been like, he'll be a general yet. And All right, so we're in this hatch.
Yeah. So the barking dog members, they are descending first. So they're going 1, 2. And what order would you guys like to go down?
Ooh, barking dogs. I guess I'll go third, and then Ivaruka and Kieran.
And then Kieran's last. Perfect. And you guys descending. Shane, as third, you're still kind of in the shaft a little bit heading down as the first barking dog member does touch floor. Now, as he gets into the room down below, you do see a bottom, but that's only from the light that's kind of above shining down through. Inside this room, it looks to be pretty dark. You can't really see anything. As the first
Ivaruka
barking
and
dog
I
member
are elves with dark vision.
Oh,
So
I have dark vision.
Actually, but so dark vision. You don't have to give us all the details in like pitch black. We can see like just outlines of shapes. Like think of how a cat could see, kind of cat eyes.
Yeah. So
Kieran is screwed, but we're good.
Yeah. The first barking dog member, he kind of touches down and he kind of like sets down a little bit. He goes, brushing off his legs, and then something blindingly fast boom, takes him. He disappears.
I'm back up here.
The momentum of people going down, like Kieran's at the top, he's still climbing down. Everyone is, it's almost like people are now kind of bunching up a little bit. The last barking dog member, he kind of looks up and goes, "Hey, there's something down here."
Yeah, think.
Anybody got a light?
The second barking dog member, he looks down, he goes, "Oi, Joe, you okay?" Silence. Hasn't heard anything yet. He's like, "I'm coming, Joe." He lets go of the rope. He slides down. To his credit, he does not disappear. He's looking around and he pulls out a closest thing you can get to like a fuse, and a little bit of flint, and he lights it, letting off this like pretty sparkling light, and throws it into the far corner where he last saw Joe get taken. The rest of you make an athletics check.
Athletics.
Yeah,
I'm not good at that.
We're climbing back up that thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta roll. Boom and boom. Okay, so because of Kieran in his frantic, once Kieran knew something was kind of going wrong, he kind of panicked a little bit. He loosed gripping on the rope. Kind of tumbles into you, Veruca. Veruca, you tumble into Darren. And you guys, as one uniform train, slide down the rope, thump, thud into the floor.
That's like the Three Stooges in here.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
What do you do?
Three fools. What do we see with the sparkling light?
The fuse where he threw it, in the far corner, you actually see illuminated with shadows casting. You hear them first. You hear growls. In the illuminated area must be very much alive forms of these orcs, and two smaller green-looking things that to your reference checking seems to be what they call goblins. So there's goblins and orcs in the far corner, growling. The light is illuminating them up. The first barking dog member that got down is bleeding dead at the floor at the foot of one of these large, massive orcs. The barking dog member that kind of landed, he's to his back to you guys. He's facing them. He, again, to his credit, does not look green. He forms a fighting stance that speaks of experience. Around you guys is just more of the same kind of walls, kind of etched in here. The exit, not exit, where this corridor is heading is where these orcs and goblins are facing.
So,
How many orcs and goblins?
What was that?
How many orcs and goblins?
2 orcs, 1 goblin.
One goblin.
all right. Do we? Is the guy dead? Dead for sure. Like we know he's dead.
He's not moving.
All right.
It's just a flesh wound.
Well, like if he was not dead, Faruka might be able to heal him back up. Let's see if we can. All right. I'm side to
Oh,
side.
yeah. Roll initiative.
Yeah, there it is. You said it for the first time.
I got to say it. Roll initiative.
Yeah.
Now it's already 9:37. You guys.
I
This
know,
is the
it's
first
true.
combat encounter. Do you guys want to have a little bit of a battle?
Have what?
A little bit of a battle.
Knowing battles can take a minute. That's what do you think, Lois? Like I don't know when your bed.
I'm fine.
What's your bedtime, Cody?
It's good. Yeah.
All right.
good.
I only probably because I have still to feed the animals. So if we take like a quick 10-minute break to get water, kind of like restock bathrooms so I can feed these animals, and then come back to this.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Quick 10-minute break, and I'll be back.
Bathroom break.
Yep.
I will be back too. I'll be back.
I'll be back. Is all this DM stuff off the top of your head?
Yes.
How do you not just go,
I attribute it to my extensive background in fantasy novels and shows, and no, it's actually really cool. This is my first time doing this, and I like have a vague idea of like things that sounded cool. But as you guys are like going through the world, I'm like, oh, that would make sense. Oh, that would be cool. Um, some of it,
what it seems like to me is like you've got this huge thing. Same with Shane. You've got this huge thing, this idea in your mind, and then we kind of go in there and go, okay, so we're gonna do this, and you're like, and as you do that, you go off this way, and as you do that, you go off that way, and then you meet here, and we go this way. You know, like where did the hand tower come from?
literally, yeah, it's like sounds cool.
That's pretty
But that's the
impressive.
thing.
I mean, it's impressive to. I assumed that Shane had an elaborate story that he'd made a framework for. You obviously can't make a real strict framework because of everything that happens, but I assumed there was a lot more that went into the you planning something.
Yeah. Some of it is like definitely having like an overall idea of like the plot is very helpful because and I like now I'm kind of having one because I start to there's something like an author once did is that he talked about is like as he's writing a character, he starts to meet them, right? And it makes actually a ton of sense to me is like as you guys are plopping through the world, I start to meet this world. Like I'm just like, oh, that's how this happens, and that's how that happens, and like literally when you met Shane's contact, I can't remember his name even right now. When you met Shane's contact, I was like, Dirk, yeah, it was Dirk. Dirk standing in the corner. I was like, why is he standing in the corner? Oh, he's reading a bulletin board. What's on the bulletin board? And I have to like start thinking about that stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, then that'd be kind of fun to have it like this. And now the adventures are here and blah, 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 you know. It's kind of cool.
That's interesting. That's a lot more. Well, it's all creative, but now I kind of get it when Shane's sitting there and we're doing something. He's like, oh, and over here, there. And it's like, oh, he just came up with that because that happened. And that's pretty that's not easy, and that's not something everybody could do.
This is the coolest thing about like D&D is that D&D isn't just like for like fantasy nerds that like to get in there and do that. Like it is such a cool creative outlet
Definitely.
for all these different forms of art. Like I am a huge fan of improv. Huge fan. The most
This
entertaining
is definitely improv.
Right, yeah, and it's like the coolest thing in the world is that like D&D is the best medium for improv to take place. Just because like just all of a sudden you have this entire world where anything can happen and it's not like Whose Line Is It Anyway is really great. It's amazing, but it's like just random encounters and exchanges about random stuff. But the fact that it can happen inside a world, right? And then, you know, just like all that
it constantly changes and you never know what's around the next corner.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, and just the fact that there's things in it that are created like orcs and things like that. I mean, they're in other people's stories, so they have like a framework, but yours can also break out of that framework and be kind of like that, but then like this too. And it's like there's like it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives you even more freedom to create more things, but you have rules.
Yeah, but you have rules. Yeah, exactly.
If you didn't have the rules, how would you ever do anything?
Yeah, and that's like because I've been a part, like I played D&D several times before before this family D&D thing, and I would get together groups, and the thing I couldn't stand most is when it's just like, and then the most ridiculous thing in the world happened, and then you're teleported to this, and it's like the most like it like
that's
makes
not realistic.
Yeah, I'm like totally lost, and I'm like, I guess I have like super awesome powers, I guess. Like, it just like makes no sense at all. Yeah, and it's like a mixture of this is something I really want to get better at. Because I'll be DMing for my coworkers, is I like the idea of my favorite parts of stories and novels and like the things that really drew me in. I'm like, what was that thing? Let me just bleh it into these groups and experiences. So yeah, it's just like Shane's owl takes off and he sees through the owl's eyes. I'm like, oh, well, what? I guess that's there. But then you just say it with confidence.
Well, and it's the whole being able to see above, and that's the thing. It's like all of a sudden it's like, well, I think I have this with me, and he kind of knows the back too, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna need something, and you're like saying, do you have the rope? Do I need to have all those things? He's like, oh, I've got this owl, and you have no idea what he can do. I don't either yet.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, but it'll make sense in the moment.
Line up, and I can see through his. Cool.
Yeah. That is cool. Yeah, and I like being able to, as going into this, I was like, I can do that. I'm in charge here. I can that. Now this is a part of the world because I want it to be,
and this is what it looks like.
And this is what it looks like.
It is. It's kind of like you get your own playground, and then you can invite your friends to play in your playground, but they got to play by the rules, and you're the one who's in charge of the playground.
Yeah, but it's so fun is that it relies so much on you guys actually. Hey, it relies so much on you guys because like and Shane can really attest to this, is if you guys left it a lot to me, you would start to see all the holes that are inside. It's like I don't know, but the more you guys interact with each other.
Don't pull the curtain back, Cody. You're the Wizard of Oz. You don't pull the curtain back.
I'm the wizard, Lois. I'm the wizard.
He's really short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We return. We return.
My initiative is 3.
Nice. Yeah. So you see, and the light starts to flare up on these orcs, and you notice these orcs are not wearing armor. They're wearing like very raggedy, like loincloth, and just rippling with muscle. It has like these white marks covering their entire bodies all the way up into their face, and there's just marks covering the entire vicious like visage of what these creatures look like. And the one in front goes and just starts beating his chest. Alien language, you have no idea what they're saying, just thumping their chest. And then the one next to him, just as muscled, is dragging behind him this chain, this giant metal chain. Looks very, very intimidating. And then this goblin, actually, the goblin has this long, curved, slightly curved, extremely sharp, like shank. It's not a dagger. It's longer than a dagger, but it's not quite a sword. And it just looks like, it almost looks like it is just like this heap of raw metal that just got sharpened towards the end, and it's holding it in one hand like it knows how to use it.
I flourish my shank. I'm like, let's go, greenskins.
So you rolled a 3.
Actually, it's a 7 because of my initiative mod. So
it's 7. What is
I rolled for Veruca.
Veruca's.
I did hers. She was 12.
Okay, Kieran is 5.
Beautiful.
And then one more. That is the black dog member, or not black dog, barking dog. Okay. The lead orc, they're pretty close. They're like 15 feet away. If that, the lead orc that let out those noises, he's holding this giant battle axe dripping with blood that you can assume came from the very first barking dog member. charges towards you guys, the other orc and goblin in tow. So they are approaching very fast. The lead orc goes for the black dog member, and he just takes his axe and he just whirls it around and swings at the black dog member. Okay. How do I do combat, Shane?
Same
Now
way
what?
same way you run Jakuba, but you're running it for all the NPCs.
Okay. All
So
of
declare
the
their
orcs and
action.
goblins rolled higher
Okay.
than you guys.
Yep.
Every single one.
All right.
So okay. Should I have okay. Oh, and boom, boom. He wings around the axe and swings, thinking it's going to be another quick, easy kill like the first one. But this barking dog member is now on guard and knows that they're coming. The barking dog member has, even though he's wearing kind of like raggedy, not very well put together armor, at second glance, you notice is that the armor itself looks pretty durable. It does not look like it's not really well maintained, but it is stitched together leather. And then he also is holding, let's say, a cool sword. It's holding together a sword. As he swings, the barking dog member takes his sword and glances off the hilt of the axe and throws it to the side. But the momentum of the blow pushes him aside, and the axe hits against the concrete, sparks fly. The second orc is coming towards Kieran, actually. The second orc is coming toward Kieran, whirling the chain around the side and takes the chain, whirls it at Kieran. The chain goes, Kieran skips up. Terrified of it. The chain skirts underneath Kieran's feet, and again, sparks fly from this chain. The orc then again is swinging for another one, and the goblin reaches to the skirts off to the side into one of the darker places where the flare didn't light up, and disappears.
Who's next?
Oh shit! I gotta write that down, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay. One more time. What did you roll, Shane?
I have this turn order on roll 20, so I'm a 7, Varuk is a 12.
Okay, perfect. Veruca, it is your go.
I have no idea what to do.
So you have a sword. You have a few spells that we talked about. We could go over them.
Yeah,
there.
I was looking through those. That's what I was doing the whole time.
Yeah.
Through these going,
They're not too. So your choice of spells are not too combat effective.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you can choose
to give a circle of truth to the orc.
You can choose to switch them around. You're kind of built towards the more, but you can do stuff like the vicious mockery would make one of the orcs attacking someone.
It would work on an orc.
Yeah, it would work. Disadvantage. It says even in the rules that you can insult a pig and it would still. But it has disadvantage on the attack.
I did learn orc sexually once, so
yeah. But again, your main combat thing would be your sword and the ability to use your bardic dice to do the psychic damage. So you can do a lot of damage with your sword.
I can do psychic damage to people whose brains we don't orcs.
Yep. Anyone you cut.
That's what I'm going to do then.
All right.
Which means I have to touch one of them. So I'm going to swing towards one of the big guys.
So she has her little rapier fencing sword out.
The orc is one of the orcs is a little bit behind that lead one that engaged the barking dog, and just swinging that chain is just very menacing. So it might be a little intimidating to try to close with that one, but you can close with the one that engaged the barking dog member. Do you want to pick that one?
Have I already rolled, or I don't know how good I'm going to do?
You don't know yet.
Okay, I'll go with the safe one.
The safe one?
Yep.
Yeah, the safe orc rippling with muscles.
All right, you rolled a 6.
Yeah. Good thing I went with safe.
So you go and you actually you take the sword and you slash at the orc. Most of the momentum of the sword is I think just the overall first sight of these things it still has a little bit of adrenaline coursing through you. The blade glances aside from anything major. It does draw a slight line of blood on the orc, and the orc's eyes kind of glaze over a little bit, and they just see almost like this red glow start to come from the eyes a tiny bit as the orc just almost seems to be energized by bleeding.
All right. Well, if you're going with that, do you allow it to hit, Cody? If it did damage, you can try the psychic thing.
Yes, I do actually allow it to hit.
All right, because it is +3 on the her roll.
Okay.
All right, so her psychic thing, let me have it pulled up here, I think is 3d6. I think something nuts. Let me check again. $2d6. Yeah, so I'll roll that here. So she does an additional 2d6 damage of psychic.
What does that even mean?
So 5 damage of psychic.
5 damage of psychic.
But he's an orc. He doesn't have very big of a brain.
As the sword glances aside, the blood that draws doesn't seem to bother it at all, but then that aftershock of psychic damage kind of courses through him, and you see it almost like rages a little bit inside the orc's head as it's just like this intense rage that came over it. The psychic kind of almost shocks it back to lucidity, but that rage is still kind of behind that red aura, that glow.
Good, so I pissed him off. Yeah. Great.
You shocked him out of being pissed off. And the orc took 5 damage. Shane, I have a question.
Yes.
I have the orc's attributes here.
Yeah.
It says how much health it has, but then it also has a number next to it with dice plus numbers.
So the number next to it is average. The dice is if you decided to roll for each individual orc. So
got it.
Yeah, so if you wanted to, so there's like a range, like the orcs can have the low range of the dice roll to the high range, but the number stated is the average, which most people just go with the average. It's simpler.
Yeah, cool.
If you want to have like a super orc, though, you can like buff its HP to the max. So on roll 20, I'm going to try a thing to where I'm going to do this with you guys too, and my other players. It's really complicated for the dungeon master to run combat and narrate and decide all the rules. So it's easier if the players keep track of damage because we've only run one character each. So I have on this map here these owl bears, which will be orcs. And I mark this one has 5. So boom. So if you click on them, this one has 5 damage on them. So we'll try to keep track. So I think you should try to do that too, Cody, is have players engaged to keep track of some of the math and stuff for you.
Okay, that's cool. I have a Google search bar right now where I'm typing in numbers.
Yeah, so this is easier.
Shane, your go.
Oh, shit. All right, so I cast off my cloak, my dirty, ratty cloak, and my blade begins to hum a melody like it's musical. And I, like standing up, I was hunched over looking old, and I'm standing up tall, and I look more lithe, and like my age seems to fade because it was all more of a disguise than an actual. I'm still old, but I'm a half elf, so I'm very in my prime still. I take my sword and I'm going to just deflect one of the blows of the axe, just kind of like catch up underneath, and my hand's going to spark with electricity as I try to thrust it into the orc. Are they wearing metal?
They are not.
No.
All right, so I just grab them.
They have no armor at all. It's just.
All right, I just grab him, I punch him, like thrust into the chest, and I try to shock him with Shocking Grasp. So I make a melee spell attack roll. All right, so 1d20, and it's going to be, this is +6, I believe. I rolled a 1.
I think you should roll real dice.
This was my cool moment, and I rolled a 1.
Yeah.
I rolled 1.
All right.
Yeah. You could use mine.
As you
did I use my bardic inspiration dice yet?
You have not.
I'm gonna roll that.
Would you like to use your bardic inspiration?
Heck yeah, I do. I'm gonna roll a 6-sided, see if I can, because that 1. Oh no, because 1's automatically miss even. Nah, it's a 1. I'm screwed.
Okay. So as you went up to go for the glancing blow, the strength of this creature, you were not expecting that. Completely throws you off balance as you try to reach to his abdomen with the shocking grasp. It misses it, but your hand still sparks incredibly bright.
Ooh. So wait. Can I interject? My owl would actually also be able to move. Can I use my owl? It has what's called the help action, so it can distract the orc, giving me advantage, so I can get one more chance on that roll.
The owl.
Find familiar lets me do advantage.
Okay. The owl sees what's going on a little bit, and as you go to deflect it, it kind of senses a little bit that this creature is a lot to handle. So the owl kind of flies in and starts pecking at the face of this orc. Roll again.
Okay. So I was going to do it to where the owl and I actually seem to work in tandem, to where like striking at the same time and being like, because it's almost as if our sweeps are musical. And
you want to describe it?
I do.
Oh,
well,
I'm so sorry. You go for it.
Yeah, the players can describe their own stuff. All right, I rolled a 9, which 9 plus 6 would be 15.
That hits.
All right, so the owl, it's like swings by and it like kind of rakes the face of the orc to throw it off a little bit. I'm able to redirect my hand, like hitting it with shocking grasp, which does 1. What was that? 1d8 lightning. So I 6 lightning damage.
Perfect.
And it can't take reactions until the start of its next turn, which means as it's getting zapped, I run past it, and my blade singing gives me an additional 10 feet of movement. So I'm running 40 feet, and I try to go past the orc, and I'm running to the little goblin in the back.
Say that again.
All right. So Shocking Grasp makes it to where the enemy can't take reactions if it hits. So I'm running by him without provoking opportunity attacks. So I'm just trying to run by him while he's being like zapped, and I'm running towards the goblin. When I'm in this,
the goblin has disappeared.
The goblin's disappeared?
The goblin disappeared.
What the heck?
Yeah, the goblin went first as he was running up with the orcs, and the goblin purposely went to the side where the flare was least bright and kind of disappeared into the shadows that was there.
I'm going to run towards that direction then.
Okay. So as you say, it shall happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this orc has this singed burn mark in its abdomen where the hand touched him, still twitching a little bit of electricity as it courses through, and you kind of see it snap around a little bit. Just lets out this really deep guttural sound. Right into the face of the barking dog member. Okay, and now it is Kieran's turn. So Kieran is in the back. Totally
big damage.
Yeah. Kieran pulls out this like farming utility knife, not equipped at all to go into this, but puts on a brave face. He also runs towards the direction of where the goblin disappeared at. He let it know, he goes, all right, guys, I'll get the small one. Running that direction. Not as a market coward, it's just because there's a lot of engaging these big orcs too. That comes back to the barking dog member. So the barking dog member, having glanced aside this orc's blow, having you do the follow-up sharking attack, he takes this initiative to get in close beyond this massive axe's vicinity, and he takes his sword and he rams it, and he tries to stab the lead orc in the gut.
Does he?
It hits. Ooh. That's the thing. That's why I put someone in on both sides. I get to play both sides.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Boom. So he doesn't ram it in as far as he would like. He put all his weight behind it, but the sheer size and of this orc's abdominal physique stops the blade in, but it's still kind of protruding through. The orc takes another 5 damage. So you can see this orc not being used to not having such heavy blows done to it, having like shocking the stab, is kind of confused why it's feeling so kind of run down, but you do notice the orc's eyes are dim a tiny bit. Okay, so the barking dog member, having stabbed that, like looks after you, Shane, as you're running. He's like, "You didn't tell me you were a fucking wizard." Totally surprised by this fact. And you can even see he gets a little bit emboldened by this knowledge. It's a big deal to have a wizard in the party. Okay. The orc's turn. The lead orc, having the sword still sticking out of him a little bit, looks down at the barking dog member and just takes the shortens up the hand on this axe and takes the other hand of this axe, and he's going to go in like this with the axe blade. Rolled a 17. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, you roll like that for the wrong side.
Yeah. It's the way it works. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Do I have the dice I need? I certainly do. I rolled a 1. Okay. So because he doesn't have any momentum behind it, he takes the axe, he presses to the barking dog's member. It gets the guy right up here. It catches on the leather armor. So leather armor actually does stop a little bit, but the part of the axe that kind of curves upwards does embed itself into a part of the barking dog member. It kind of sticks a little bit in there and pushes him away. Barking dog member goes, ah! Takes 4 damage. On to the second orc.
Which orc is in worse shape?
The forward one with the axe. All right. The one behind it, whirling the chain around as this lead barking dog member gets pushed away. The one in the behind sees his opportunity and launches again with this chain. The chain whirls around this barking dog member, and the tail end of it kind of curls up and ends and smacks the barking dog member right in the head. He has... Whoa! He's unconscious. Just boom! Knocks him unconscious. Takes it, and the leading orc is still just he takes the chain and he starts to pull it back towards him as the barking dog member starts to roll, unwinding from the chain, and the chain's curling back. He's still in the process of it. The goblin appears behind Kieran. So Kieran is he charges into the darkness and looks around. Sees a blade stick through his abdominal, facing outward from you guys. Kieran is stabbed through. The goblin pulls the blade out again, huddles over, and is now on the ground bleeding out. Veruca, it's your turn.
Well, I don't think my little minor healing is going to do anything for him.
According to the rules, it actually would. So I don't know how Cody wants to narrate it.
You see him, he's curled around the wound, but is still alive.
So as long as they're alive, your healing thing can keep them from death, even no matter how creepy this is. according to the rules, they're not dead until they're dead. So even their little healing word can still pop them back up.
Okay, I'll use that.
That's a bonus action, so you actually can still do something else.
Okay, cool. So I use my healing word on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to look to you, Derek. Which one should we kill?
All right, so Darren says,
Darren, sorry. Derek.
he's like,
I think it's part of the narrative that you always get his name wrong. I think it's pretty good.
it's like,
come on, Derek.
I'm going for the goblin to keep this kid alive. You hold off the one I zapped.
Actually, I was going to do something with you.
Because I'm on the other side. There's the two orcs. Because I did a thing where I like zapped one and was able to slip by them. So it's like
It's
you,
okay.
two orcs, and then I'm in the back trying to catch this goblin with. Although you're now alone fighting two orcs because of that one guy's down.
It's a great place to be.
All right.
I was actually going to, I don't know, tell me if I can do this. I was going to viciously mock one of them, and you could come in and get them while they were crumbled in pain from my vicious mock.
Yeah, so the vicious mockery one would make it to where their next attack, they would have disadvantage, so they're like, kind of distracted and swing wide, so they'd have less chance to hit, which might be smart because they're doing a lot.
So let's try that.
Yeah, I'm like, mock the one with the chain!
I viciously mock you!
I bite my thumb at thee, sir.
I don't know, I learned their language.
You viciously mock the guy with the chain?
Chain, yeah.
So they make a wisdom saving throw, and they need to beat
A dirty 20.
Ah.
Ooh. I was rolling for Veruca there.
Aaron, we're gonna die.
Sorry, you roll a wisdom saving throw. We might die, shoot. Cody's the first timer. He doesn't know how to balance encounters.
Wait. No, this die that I rolled was a dirty 20 for Veruca. I rolled for Veruca.
But you don't. It's a wisdom saving throw, which means the orc makes a roll.
Oh.
Veruca doesn't roll.
He didn't
for
know
this
that.
one.
He's got to roll again.
All right.
The one with the
DM can do whatever he wants. So.
As you're whispering through, this orc does not understand you at all. Like it's just really irritated about this like buzzing around inside his skull. It just like whips his. So he's just now unfurling the chain from this body, about ready to start winding it up again.
Yeah. So it can technically
as
work.
You say that. Yeah, as you say that, but yeah, it didn't get back through the language barrier. Try a different sentence next time. As you realize that this didn't really have any effect to it, you turn back to Kieran, and you start to weave together a healing light. The healing light envelops Kieran. What do I roll, Shane?
So I'm gonna roll because I just have it here. It's 1d4 plus her with its charisma, so 1d4 plus 4, so 8 total.
Holy crap. Well, okay. The sword actually left a pretty clean wound. The biggest threat was the blood. The wound starts to close around Kieran's abdominal and through the back. You can just start to see it kind of knit together. And Kieran's color just kind of returns a little bit to his cheeks, and he starts to breathe a lot easier. He's still down, but he looks to be in much better shape. Okay, that goes to Shane's turn.
All right, so can I see the goblin?
Yes, you can. The goblin has reappeared. The goblin has like this bloody little shank and everything. He's looking at you now because you kind of ran over in that direction too. Kieran's down. The goblin is still a little like just down. That one is now turning its attention to you.
So I'm going to just dash forward, like I'm low to the ground running with my sword out, just dashing forward. And I like spin and try to do an upward sweep with my sword at him. Which is... Did it roll?
Yeah.
What did it roll? I didn't see it. Oh, was that a 20?
How would you like to do this?
Okay, so... as I'm running like low to the, like I'm super anime style where I'm running crazy low to the ground, like forward. And then I do one spin, come up, and I slice the goblin just clean, just diagonal. Does the anime split?
Yeah, and you can see at right before the blade impacts the goblin, he goes.
And then as I cut it, and I'm still whirling in the same motion as I'm spinning, I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Misty Step. So I whirl, I'm gone. And Veruca, you see me, I whirl directly in front of you with the same motion, and I'm back in front of you. Putting myself in between you and the orcs.
The goblin splits in twine, just goes both sides, both on the ground, little meaty thuds into the stonework there. Kieran's still down by the ground there. Okay, and it moves on. It is now actually Kieran's turn. Kieran gets shakily to his feet, and he kind of looks down in amazement at his now closed wound. He looks at you, Brick, and he's like, "You're one of them too." And then he takes his dagger, and he's actually going to. He looks and he goes, "I think I'm going to die if I get close, but I can do this." He throws a dagger at the lead.
Oh my gosh!
Here we go.
Did he crit?
He crit. The dagger flings through the air. Boom, 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 boom. Shane, as you appear in front of Veruca, you kind of turn to the side and just see this dagger kind of fly past you. Boom, boom, embeds itself into the orc's eye. Orc falls, just slumps lifeless to the floor. Kieran looks and just looks in amazement at what we just did.
I knew you had spunk, kid.
Yeah.
Look, now you're one of them.
The orc with the chain now starts to wind up again, starts to get the momentum going. He looks to the cleaved goblin in two, looks to the orc with the dagger protruding through the eye and just goes, "Ooh, la the ball!" He does not look like he's going to give up, and he just winds up again. Shane, he's aiming for you.
All right.
There's no Shane in this room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead
He's
and roll.
Dirk.
Sorry.
He's aiming
Darren.
for me, so you roll for the orc.
Okay. Do you have to roll defense die?
No, my armor class, because I'm using blade saw.
I see. I got to roll past that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's actually put it this way. He was aiming for Veruca, but your sudden appearance in front of Veruca kind of veers off a little bit, and he throws the chain. Now the sudden appearance of it, you can take your blade and you actually chuck aside the momentum of the blade. So you kind of appear just in the nick of time. Curve away the chain.
Yeah, because my armor class is 19.
What?
My armor class is, when I use my blade song, it's 15 because I wear leather armor plus my dexterity.
Got it. Plus,
my blade song adds my intelligence modifier to it, which is +4. So I have 19 armor class.
He rolled a 2, so.
Oh,
okay. Everything from that point was just drama.
Yeah.
He was going to miss no matter what. Okay. Shane, it is your... no, Veruca, sorry. Veruca, it is your turn.
So where do we stand with everything?
Shane, Darren just appeared in front of you. You can kind of see to your side, Kieran has gotten to his feet, just has thrown this. You attribute that throw to your healing energy. It gave him the prowess to make that. Yeah. And you are now probably about 10 feet or so away from this orc with the chain.
And he's still alive. What's his damage?
I don't think he's taking anything.
He's fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see a lot I have here to use. Oh, I can use Bardic Inspiration against enemies. How do I do that?
That's when you, if you hit him with your sword, you use your Bardic Inspiration to do the psychic damage to them.
Okay. Can I do that again, or have I already used that here?
You've used how many dice? You should have 4. I think you get 4 per day.
I have no idea.
I know.
What are you trying to do?
Bardic Inspiration. How many of those does she have left? She gave me one. She gave
I
that was
gave
it.
one.
Okay, then she used
She
one
used
for
one?
the psychic. So she used one for the psychic damage, so she should have two
So
more left.
you have 2 left.
Well, I'm gonna try that again with him, which means I got to get close
Yeah.
enough to touch my.
This orc, he just got done swinging the chain and it missed, and so it doesn't have the same menacing momentum of it anymore. This would be the time to close it.
Going for it.
Are you attacking it?
I'm attacking him.
Nice. What's the modifier, Shane?
Plus with her little dagger dealio, her rapier.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 2 proficiency. So anytime you're good at something, you get your proficiency, which at our level is +2. And her dexterity gives her an additional +1, so 3 total.
All right. Veruca, you get to roll damage.
And the stupid orc probably won't understand the psychic damage.
Oh. I was picking my spell list from a non-complete spell list, so I have a lot of cool ones that I need to look through.
Shane. What damage is the rapier?
I think it's 1d6. And then you add her dexterity to it, so it's a 5. That's 1d8. So let's just add 2 to that. So 2 plus another 1, 7.
7.
Yeah.
So you close in with this the orc having missed. You kind of skirt to the side, out from behind Darren, and you start to run up with the sword out to the side. Do you have any specific way you would like to attack it?
Viciously.
And you go and you just do one of these guys. At the orc. The orc just goes. Yeah, the orc takes 7 points of damage. He looks to you just kind of a little outraged and drops the chain, and then at its side he pulls out this hatchet looking thing.
It would be good for the psychic damage to kick in now.
You hit. So she would roll, if she uses her psychic, it's full 2d6.
2d6?
5.
Oh, wow. Okay. As that happens, the orc blearily reaches out and takes this thing out. He definitely is hurting. Shane, it's your turn.
All right. So I'm looking at these new cantrips I got here. All right, I'm going to use Booming Blade. Let's see.
Booming Blade.
Okay. All right, so I try to go in under it, and my sword just starts to as it's swinging through the air, it sounds like just birds chirping. It's like a chorus of songbirds, and as I strike it, potentially strike it, I roll 6 plus 6, 12.
You hit.
I hit. Okay, so
these orcs aren't wearing armor. Their DC is pretty low.
All right, so I do a 1d. Shit, I think it's 6 from a scimitar. Adding my dexterity, which is +4, I think. And my booming blade gets an additional. Oh, and now it's wrapped. So if it doesn't die from that one, it is now the swirling song kind of wraps it, and if it takes a step outside, if it tries to move outside of its zone, it'll take thunder damage.
How much damage did you take?
I had it for a 10 because I rolled a total of 6, and then I have a 4.
Again, how would you like to do this? He already had 12 points of damage.
So the booming blade, to where it's just as I cut, it's it makes a slash, and he just stands there the echoing songbirds of my blade as I cut through him, and then there's like an aftershock to where like the thunderclap just boom, where the damage actually kicks in, and he gets like blasted off his feet.
The orc flies back steaming. It goes and just kind of skirts and slides a little bit onto the stone feet. At that, the flare, still flaring brightly, you kind of look around and you see this grisly scene. Orcs are bleeding out on the floor. Goblins there. Kieran's blood is still kind of coating that floor, and the barking dog member is laying on the ground unconscious, not stirring. At this point, the rope that you came down on thuds on the floor, and you hear that resounding boom as the hatch closes. End part 1.
All right.
We beat the crap out of all those things, and now we're stuck.
Now we are stuck.
Wicked DM brains.
What you did see is where the orcs were, it wasn't like a empty cellar kind of place. You did notice that the path did extend past these orcs and goblins. And an astute observer might have seen them as guards.
Great. Because we got a lot of talent we're packing.
Yeah. Shane, how'd I do?
I got almost no criticism. That was really, really good.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, I'm jealous though. I feel like it. Like I'm mad.
What do you mean you're mad?
Mad, you were doing real good.
Yeah.
Hey, he's been listening to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, no. I want to play. So you want to take over the group?
Like
the legit
family group.
Legit. I want we can rotate or stuff. I like the opportunity to play. I was juggling like multiple campaigns, so it was hard to like keep all of it. So if you're wanting to like.
That would be kind of fun to have both of you do it.
Yeah, so we can tag team. Like, if you have an idea, I have an idea. We can discuss outside. Like,
yeah. Should we have 2 different campaigns going on at the same time, or should
probably
we
not?
Just yeah?
That'd
okay,
be fun too, because it would be like you start in the middle of a story, and if it doesn't finish, then the next person finishes it off. That would be cool.
Yeah, so it could be like a.
Because there's quite a lot to this story you guys just embarked on. There's a lot going on in this campaign.
I know. Honestly, it's
there's a lot of mystery and intrigue.
I'm sad,
and what
Cody.
Did you do? Put the rope down, shut the drawer.